Tuhia ki te rangi. Tuhia ki te whenua. Tuhia ki te nako. O ngā tangata katoa. Aroha, aroha. Tēnā koutou katoa. Ko Anaru tōku ingoa. Ko Ngāti Kiriyama tōku hapu. Ko Maunga Kiki tōku maunga. Ko Manukau tōku moana. Ko Captain James Cook tōku waka. Ko Koterana tōku iwi. Ko Edinburgh tōku marae. Ko Robin tōku wahine. Well, my name is Andrew Graham. I am a sonographer from Auckland in Aotearoa, New Zealand. And I just wanted to do this little talk to share my experience of my Te Reo journey in the last 10 to 12 years and see it may be helpful for some of you. And we ask why. Why is Te Reo Maori and tikanga Maori important in radiology today and in health today? Well, we go historically. In the 19th century, few Maori gave birth in hospitals. In fact, in 1937, only 17% of Maori women did so. As we progress the 21st century, most Maori babies are now born in hospital. In 2015, 28% of babies born in Aotearoa, New Zealand were Maori. So those numbers are substantial enough, I think, to have a look at some of the cultural practices and indeed the language that we may use when dealing with this cohort. Māori incidence of sudden infant death syndrome is high, unfortunately. Between 2008 and 2012, 100 of 162 babies that suffered from a sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS, that died were Māori. One initiative to reduce this number was the revival of traditional Māori woven baskets for babies to sleep in, called wahakura. Parents can still sleep with their babies in the traditional way, but the baby has its own space to sleep in the basket. Also, why? Because we're bicultural. New Zealand has been identified as bicultural and has that legal status for some time. We have a guiding document, the Treaty of Waitangi, or Te Tiriti o Waitangi, the 3 Ps. Partnership, the sharing of power and decision making. Protection, the exercise of chieftainship and autonomy. And participation, equity of access and equity of participation. But is there equity of outcome? Te Tiriti o Waitangi. It's interesting that we have 2 documents, the Treaty of Waitangi, written on standard paper in English. The translation was written on parchment or tree bark and was written in Te Reo Maori, and they do have slightly different meanings. The Maori version allows for tino rangatiratanga, Maori self-determination, for equity, for active protection, for Maori to have options, and partnership. Māori women are more likely to experience perinatal distress. Reclaiming traditional practices has helped many Māori women find better health outcomes. The challenge of the 21st century is for Māori women to have their birth practices validated and not violated through culturally safe practices. And indeed, the United Nations Forum on Indigenous Issues, this is an advisory body to the Economic and Social Council with a mandate to discuss Indigenous issues related to economic and social development, culture, the environment, education, health, and human rights. So this indeed goes far beyond just Aotearoa New Zealand. And it's official. Te Reo Maori and New Zealand Sign Language are both formally recognised as official languages of Aotearoa New Zealand. And people have the right to speak Māori and have New Zealand Sign Language in such things as legal proceedings. English has been given honorary status, but at a legislation level, it is only Te Reo Maori and New Zealand Sign Language that are considered official. So it's a human right issue, and indeed, if we have a look at our Health and Disability Commission and the Code of Practice, we would be following the Code of Practice if we were to offer Māori women, well actually Māori and non-Māori, but everybody in New Zealand, tikanga, cultural values and te reo. So what is tikanga? It is the practical application of values embedded in our worldviews and knowledges that is pivotal to our identity. So it encompasses things such as customs and traditions, practices and ethical behaviour. In the 21st century, women in whānau are reclaiming traditional knowledges and associated tikanga pertaining to pregnancy and childbirth. Within traditional Maori society, tikanga were observed in order to preserve the tapu, or the sacredness of childbirth, and actually to keep everybody safe. So it was a safety issue as well. Some tikanga include birthing in a special whare kohanga, karakia, or prayer, often sung, the whenua, the placenta, pito, roru, this is the placenta and the start of the umbilical cord. There are special practices around how these are disposed of. They're often buried on ancestral lands. Birth often used to involve squatting or holding of posts. And the umbilical cord was tied with harakeke or flax. So what is our part? What can we do to encourage te reo and tikanga Māori values in our radiology practice? For me, I found it was offering some words pertaining to baby body parts in Te Reo Maori. What I would do is I would greet the whānau and explain what I was going to do. And during that explanation process, say to them, would they like some of the words in Māori? Most people are really pleasantly surprised. I've never had anyone have a negative response to this. I explained that not all words would be in Māori, but we'd get some particular body parts. At a recent conference, I had someone come up to me and say, Andrew, this will confuse our radiologists because they won't recognise what the Māori words mean. That's okay. What I do is I often will put the Māori word down and then in brackets the English word beside it. However, you would hope that most of our radiologists would be able to recognise the picture. So if we look now at the Māori alphabet has 15 letters. These are broken down to 5 vowels, 10 consonants. 2 of the consonants are what we call digraphs. These are 2 letters that combine to form one sound. In the example of the Māori language, this is NG, pronounced as it sounds in the English word singer. If you imagine in your mind saying the S and the ER, but out loudly say the middle portion. So when you say it, you drop the S and the ER, and that is ng. Ng. The WH is pronounced like an F. The vowel sounds are very different to the English. A, ah, like the word cup. Ah. E, air, like the vowel sound in the word egg. I, E, like the vowel sound eat. O, or, like the vowel sound in for. Oo, or you, oo, like the vowel sound to. So these would be said a, e, e, or, oo. A, e, e, or, oo. Now you may have noticed that some of the letters and the vowels have a straight line or macron above them. This lengthens the vowel sound. So now the A sounds like the A in the word car. E like air in measure. I like E in heel. O like or in your, and oo as in roof. Examples of Māori words and how to say them. It's nice to practice these, and one useful way of doing this is looking at New Zealand place names. I've got 4 examples here. If we take the first one, the little South Island town of Motueka, often would be sound Motueka. But if we break it down, the M-O, more, tu, e, ka, Motueka, Rotorua, Taupo, Tauranga, Tauranga. Alrighty, let's get to some good stuff. So I'm going to start at the top, at the baby's head, which is often the most exciting thing, I think. Baby's head and face is what people love to see. So here we have got the macron, and we've got our digraph as well. So we're going to say ma, hu, nga, mahunga. So again, you can break that down. The first vowel is a long A, ma, then break down the next syllable, hu, hu, and the final syllable, nga, ma, hunga, mahunga, head. We can break down again the 2 syllables, ka and ru, ka, ru. Now here you'll notice that the R has a soft roll. So if you're Scottish or Irish, you'll be quite proficient at this. Spanish speaking folks. Ka-ru, karu, I, karu. Ma, ka, we, makawe, here, makawe. Ta, ri, nga. Ta, ri, nga. Taringa. I, hu. I, hu, nose. Ihu. Wa, ha, waha, mouth. Waha. Po, ho, poho, chest. Now, for many of these words, there are different dialects that will use different names, and in this example, you can also use uma. Pu, ku, puku, puku, stomach. The hands and the fingers. Ri, nga, ri, nga, ringa, ringa. Again, in some regions, you'll see that ringa can be used for the arm and the hand combined. Some will use two words together, ringa, ringa for the arm, ringa for the hands. And for the fingers, mati, 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 mati. Ringa, mati, mati. Chubby little legs. Why. Leg, foot. That's the beginning. There's not a lot of words in the obstetric scanning that I do use. They would be the core that I'd use for a bit of fun and a little bit of acknowledgement of Te Reo. Some of the things for tikanga would be a karakia, a small karakia, similar to the one that I started with, tuia. That's a very beautiful waiata. And what that just says is write it on the sky or the heavens, write it on the land, write it on the hearts of the people love. Very, very simple. If there's someone in the room, please, I'm not saying that you need to start singing waiata and say karakia over people, but there may be one of the whānau that would like to do that. What I would say about this journey is enjoy the journey. I'm really enjoying my Te Reo journey. I think the important thing is to be gracious. If people come in with cultural practices that we're not used to, firstly think about safety. Is it safe? And if it is, then it's a part of our culture. And I think the other interesting point and a really important point is that the point of this is to educate, not humiliate. What I mean by that is it's not meant to make you feel uncomfortable. We also don't want to make our clients feel uncomfortable. So this is about education, about learning a new skill and moving forward. Well, kia ora, thank you for watching. And I hope you enjoy the beginning of your journey. Ka kite anō.